And hello folks, it is Kazi here to bring you a game called Musicus. I was given this game and I had to wait like over a month to be able to even play it because not only could you not download it, you couldn't even, not that you couldn't play it, you couldn't even download it. References to fighting suicide, death, oh wow, didn't expect that. You couldn't even download it until the 8th. And it's the 9th because I had other stuff to do. So from all I know, besides what it just said in the little warning was that this is a visual novel game. See config, text speed, red text only, or red text only. I think I've played something like this before. Display settings, full screen, background actions, don't stop. All right. So that's all I know about this. And if it's like any other visual novel, you can just click the crap out of it. The white lace curtains gently swayed gently in the wind, giving the sunlight a comforting tone. The smell of my whole grain toast with butter and my organic coffee from a local cafe melded with the room's clean air. An aroma like this roused me more than any sound or sight could. And so I'm going to sup. And it alone would make for a wonderful morning. But this morning, there was something in the living room robbing me of that pleasure. Boobs. Hey, can you turn off the TV? I asked her as I buttered the last corner of my toast. Well, it looks like it's about to start. I'm just gonna let them speak their Japanese because there is no English audio for this, by the way. My mom sat directly in front of the TV, her eyes fixated as she answered. You know, see, last time I played a visual novel style game. Oh, isn't like usually the box just along the bottom? The look on her face was one of giddy anticipation, but I had no idea what fun she could have found in it. There was a morning news show on. At the long table on screen, everyone sitting seemed to have impressive titles on their name cards, like professors and whatnot. Yet I highly doubted any of their jobs related to the kind of gossip and news anyone was capable of commenting on. I only very rarely, and by chance, saw these kinds of shows, but apparently today's contents had some bearing on our family, and my mom was intent on watching it. The political news segment had just ended, and the celebrity gossip segment was starting. What on earth did she find interesting about this? It was like she was a little girl waiting for a favorite actor to come on screen, despite it being about her husband's unfaithfulness. Wait, what? It was beyond me. While I had trouble wrapping my mind around it, even more aggravating was everything about my dad, who was about to be the topic of the show. So wait, this is about his dad cheating on his mom, and the mom is excited to see him on TV. What?
さて、それでは最初のニュースは今大人気のあのお騒がせ先生の不倫騒動です。
Now, for our first story of the day, the love affair that delinquent doctor we all know. Just as the caster finished his opening line, a middle-aged man's face appeared on screen. I wanted to avert my gaze from that familiar face. Look, it's Dad! The man who cheated on me! My mom bounced up and down in her chair. It was her husband, and my father, Shusaku Tsushima, a doctor with his own practice. My grandfather was a doctor, and like many sons of the family, my dad followed in those footsteps at first, but went down a fairly different path eventually. He had gained fame here and there on TV for his endearing and cool way of speaking, completely unlike a typical doctor. He even had a small role in a drama, and me being cynical about the whole thing, I saw it as a chance to rip on him. Yet, even I found myself a bit taken by his acting skills. He was some ignorant samurai with his hair all done up, making a flagrant Flagrant request to a servant, and he nailed it. I almost said flatulent right after that. Making a flatulent request to a servant. I don't know how they did the casting, but it was like he was born for that role. There was no way in a blue moon his father, who dedicated his life to medical research, would have ever done this sort of work. It all started when they called him on a variety show to give him his doctor's opinion. His extreme way of speaking was just as incongruous to a medical professional, like he was insulting the community, yet somehow that performance landed him loads of TV work. So I wanted to see none of it, if at all possible. It was embarrassing for me to see my own father on TV with nothing positive to say. Now his primary work seemed to be a TV personality, and you would think he was shirking his responsibilities as a doctor, but his TV appearances had actually increased his clinic's revenue. So even as I threw my fists up in the air in anger, I had nowhere to slam them down. It was really eating at me. The world of television wasn't simple or kind, so this kind of success spoke to his innate talent. Maybe I needed to recognize or even respect that. But deep down, I desperately wanted to criticize his selfish ways. I couldn't, though, so I remained strangely indifferent. I was living off his income and wasn't in the position to preach to him. This would have been plenty of motive to move out. It was uncomfortable being under his care. And I did seriously consider it sometimes, but twiddling my thumbs as the days went by and not having any concrete plan maybe spoke to my lack of independence. Also, in addition to the typical problems of an institutionally educated kid, I had another reason I had to bow to my parents and relatives. And it would eventually be time for me to talk about it. What, family business? On the other hand, my dad had nothing tying him down. He had his own condo in the city. He claimed that he needed it in order to balance his TV and doctor work, and my mom heartedly proclaimed, "Okay, honey." But it was obvious to me he wanted to get back into his youthful freedom. I don't know if you saw my cat. Before long, he stopped visiting, and sure enough, he was having an affair. The girl was a 21-year-old model who was also on TV. They met on a quiz show that she was helping host, and my dad was a contestant. My dad was in as a contestant. What is wrong with her? I mean, some of you know my past. I was not this stupid. Wow, she's gorgeous. I wonder how your dad and her got so close. Strange, huh? I think she needs a lobotomy. As the picture on screen changed to a smiling shot of the girl in question, my mom tilted her head as she spoke. No, Mom, you're by far the strange one here. Yes, it was a bit strange that the middle-aged guy with thinning hair could land a beautiful young girl, but how could she watch this unfold and just sit there smiling? Perplexed by that, I plopped some ham on my toast and took a bite, and washed it down with some coffee. It was usually a tasty combination, but today it was bland. My mom loved and trusted my dad. I knew that. My dad was pushing it. But he respected my mom at the end of the day. He loved her, and I knew that too. It may not have been their son's place to comment on it. It was their issue. I mean, I knew that too, but something about it felt wrong, yet I couldn't come out and say it. As usual with these stories, it had a shot of them coming out of the condo and what was written on the tabloids. Everyone ate it up. Everyone say hi to Momo. One of my 3 cats. There were surely dozens of more important news stories, but they were really milking this one. I'm done. I finished eating and left my mom with her eyes glued to the screen. I didn't have anything else to do other than attend school today. I did my usual independent morning studies, then accompanied my mom for some lunch and shopping, and studied in the afternoon until I had to leave for school at about 6:30 p.m. School at 6:30? What is he, night school? Back to school after the weekend. My school was called Koya Academy and was a name anyone in my prefecture knew, but it was mostly known for the activities of the full-time students. In fact, most had no idea there was a part-time course as well. I was a student at the part-time course. No. After all the full-time students had left, the part-time classes started in the same classrooms. Same in name and facilities, but full-time and part-time were entirely different beasts. Obviously in terms of academic skill, but the school ceremonies, field days, and such were also held separately. We had the same uniforms, but we weren't required to wear it. In fact, we were encouraged not to wear it after school hours since it could attract trouble. How would it attract trouble? Unless, they think lowly of the part-timers. Although, there were a handful of students who wanted to have the typical student experience, so they did. People generally wore their street clothes or a blazer similar to a school uniform, and some even came in their work clothes right after shift. Quite different from a full-time school with the students from the same cut, we were all over the place in terms of age and stage in life. The student body was comparatively young, but still had some stretching well into their 20s, and even one who was 32. Other part-time schools had even older students, apparently. They all had their reasons for not being able to attend classes during the day. Some had household reasons, others emotional or psychological, but there wasn't one of us who didn't have some obstacle to a normal education. And I, not being an exception, had an obstacle as well. My busty mother. What? I used to go to full-time, but I quit and here I was. And the decision to do so was all on me. I was never the type to disagree with my parents, but having up and quit like that, I was even less of a position to do so. And my dilemma of wanting to say something about my dad's affair, but being unable to, was in the same vein. Well, at any rate, part-time, full-time classes were leagues apart. I came here during last year's first semester, and it had been over a year now. The difference was night and day for me, in both ways. Coming to school at night itself was weird, but seeing students in their 20s go off to smoke at break time was shocking, and seeing a single mother having to bring her baby with her was nothing I was prepared for. I went to a school with continuing education for young parents, for teens who had children, way to help them out, which I thought was, awesome. Not to mention the drop in attendance as days went on. The dropout rate was high for part-time students. Some students who couldn't deal with regular school wound up here, but ended up dropping out anyway. Others couldn't quite balance their day job and night classes. The teachers here were all passionate and did their best to help us get our diplomas, but things just didn't work out for some students, and they couldn't quite follow through. It was just the way it was. Everyone had their own lives, and they chose their own path. If they decided to quit, then no one could rightfully stop them. I had my own insecurities and worries, but it was never the point of wanting to quit. Something about this school had really grown on me.
Senpai, konbanwa.
Oh, senpai, good evening, senpai. I changed into my indoor shoes at the entrance, and a girl with short black hair greeted me. Oh, good evening.
どうしたんですか？ぼーっとして。
What's the matter? You look spaced out. Huh? I'm the same as always.
そうでしたね。
Oh, I see, okay. She giggled unconvincingly.
ちょっと待っててくださいね。
Oh, wait a second. She was lively as she hurriedly took off her white sneakers. Hiya! Due to the momentum as she bent forward, her shoulder bag launched overhead, almost knocking her off her feet. I quickly caught her by the shoulder. Her body lurched toward me, and I could smell her shampoo, as well as a tint of sweat.
すみません。
Sorry about that. She blushed bashfully. You don't have to rush, I'll wait for you. She was like a little squirrel, always scurrying around. I rolled my eyes as I reassured her She nodded and sat down to take her shoes off. Slowly this time. She was Ozaki, same year as me. Some might find it odd that she referred to me as her senior, despite us being the same year. But it wasn't like I was the type to force my classmates to address me like that. In reality, she was my junior at one point. During middle school, I was in the kendo club, and so was she, but a year below me. I entered high school full-time, but because I quit midway and enrolled in this part-time school, I lost a whole year. She came straight here out of middle school, so we ended up in the same grade. She worked the register at the nearby supermarket, and after she finished her shift, she came here. Her supermarket job started at 9 a.m. in the morning, and at the earliest she left school was 9 at night. If you add an extracurricular in there, it would be 10. Her whole day was occupied by work and study. I keep clicking outside of the screen. But she never seemed down at all, and she was always quick to give a chipper hello. Her family wasn't wealthy, and she had to contribute to tuition and household expenses. That was the reason she couldn't be a full-time student. She was younger than me, but a person that I truly respected. Thanks for waiting. She inclined her head, slightly ashamed, as she got her indoor shoes on. Don't sweat it. Let's go. We walked side by side to our classroom. We didn't bother talking about what happened over the weekend. I knew she was busy with work. My arm is like dead right now because of this cat. She is completely comfortable. Sunset had started, making the lower sunlight shine directly through the window. I'm also checking my phone to see if plumber's gonna come by. Hey look, sunlight going through the window. Why did it seem so bright in the evening? The aluminium frames of the windows and pins used in the posters on the wall reflected the light so vividly. Even Uzaki-san's hair shone as she walked next to me. If every day we had this kind of shine, I felt like life had plenty of hope after all. The students studying part-time had to live like bats, but the morning sun wasn't the only beautiful thing in this world.
どうしたんですか? 一人でとうなずいて。
I'm always nodding to myself, thank you. Uzaki-san tilted her head as she looked over me. It's nothing. I quickly averted my gaze in embarrassment.
先輩っていつも何か黙って考え事してますよね。やっぱり頭がいい人っていろいろ考えてるんですね。
Oh, you are so cute and adorable. If you're gonna, ow! If you're gonna do that, you're gonna sit right here. No, come on. I was just thinking of something stupid. There you go. Cat butt. No, don't lay down there. That would start, like, wait. No, I guess it wouldn't. Oh no, come on. I was just thinking of something stupid. There was no way I was telling her I thought of the evening was beautiful. It was corny, and she'd think I was lying. If I was thinking of something more exciting or pressing, I wouldn't have time to look at the scenery. But I couldn't stop admiring it. It made me forget everything else on my mind. Maybe I was genuinely tired.
そうですか?
Yes. She held her inquisitive eyes on me. I escaped by speeding up a bit, but she trotted right back up to me.
おめでとうございます.
For what? Congratulations. I can't even spell the word. Nothing noteworthy came to mind as I rubbed my chin.
市の小説の賞です。
The city novel contest. You took runner-up and all. Wait, what? Oh, I guess I write novels. Oh, that's what you mean. It didn't put any quotes there. I cringed and puckered my lips.
未来ちゃんが市役所に行った時、張り出されてるのを見たって。
Uzaki-san was referring to the Gonjuro Shinoda literature contest. Gonjuro Shinoda was apparently an artist born in the city, but I'd never heard of him. Either way, to commemorate the 50th anniversary of his death, because everyone's happy when someone's dead, I guess, the city put on the Gonjiro Shinoda Literature Contest. I'm probably butchering that pronunciation. I was trying to kick off my career as a novelist or anything. I wasn't trying to kick off my career as a novelist or anything, but there was some prize money and the story would be featured in the city news. It was just some small local contest, but I submitted a story I wrote over winter break last year and took runner-up. If that was all, then I'd have been genuinely happy, but the story doesn't end there. Runner-up means that there was a winner too, and that happened to be a girl younger than me, and as icing on the cake, she was a student at my previous school. It wasn't as though I knew her personally, and if I wanted to, I could find her through an acquaintance, however. Wait, acquaintance. I think it's missing a period there. However, knowing I'd then be compared to her, my motivation went away. So that's why I hadn't made a big deal out of it, but I was still happy. I remember pouring my heart into it, and regardless of the rank, I was happy my work got a positive response. Felt like society recognized me for something, not for a task imposed on me, but an endeavor I undertook on my own. Fine for a simple hobby. It was like a little boost to my life. It was a good way to judge my modest accomplishment, but even that pleasure was dashed before long. It happened not long after. I sprained my wrist. In the waiting room of the orthopedic clinic, I saw an article in the newspaper about the girl who took first place. I was like, wow, they did an interview with her? Despite having nothing like that myself, I figured people wanted to hear about the winner. And she was younger than me, not to mention cute. I told myself that, while ignoring the growing prickly feeling in my gut, I read on, only to be shocked by what was written. Admittedly, I knew nothing about the girl, but I figured that, like me, she must have liked novels and put some serious effort into her submission. But according to the interview in the paper, the girl liked movies and TVs and barely read at all. And after hearing she could win money in the contest, she wrote the whole story in a single weekend, with almost no proofreading or editing. And she just felt so bad for all the other people who tried so hard after I just whipped something up. Or maybe I don't. Despite her languid attitude about it all, she already had offers from publishers and was currently working on something new. This would put her on the literary map. I started to feel so sick I thought I had food poisoning and my head was throbbing. The orthopedic surgeon was almost worried that I had come to the wrong place. We've seen like what, 2 characters so far in 23 minutes? But visual novels, if you people aren't aware, usually have some ridiculously long backstory thing in the beginning to essentially bring you up to speed to where you're at. The world was a dark and cruel place. No matter how passionate I wasn't better than a whimsical girl who saw the whole thing as a joke. But wait, maybe her smugness was because she was aware of her talent. Maybe that attitude was proof of her genius. I still couldn't swallow it. What's what you said? Which is why I decided to pretend that it never happened. And because I never told anyone, if I just clammed up, that would be the end. Okay, got it? I never wrote a story. I never sent it in. I never sent it. Following, I didn't lose to anyone, and I didn't flip out over it. Cool. Kei Tsushima, delete all of this from your memory. So my name is Kei Tsushima. And somehow my self-brainwashing had worked. I had started to forget.
すごいですね。さすが先輩ですね。
That was either that or, just like lobotomy. Uzaki-san's eyes sparkled shamelessly with praise. Thanks? The monster in my brain I thought I had killed had been revived, and I broke into a cold sweat as I forced out a meek reply. Sato-san, that chatterbox, had seen it. That undoubtedly meant everyone in class already knew. I didn't want to step foot in the classroom, but it was too late. I was already standing in front of the door, with my hand at my side. Turning back now would seem way too suspicious. Suspicious! I could already hear their voices inside. I just hoped they weren't talking about me. I hair in my nose now. Escape wasn't an option now, though. I psyched myself up enough to step inside, and everyone turned to look. I'm here! Ah, get her.
あ、来た。
Oh, Tasha's Lilith. He's got that, like, cat mouth thing.
よう作家先生のお出ましじゃないか
Oh, yo! Oh, I'm sorry, that just reminded me of, like, that. Two students sitting on the desk surfaces of seats in the middle of the room called out to me. There was still time before class started, so there weren't many other students. Evening. I pretended I didn't hear that horrible title he gave me as I casually walked past them to my seat to put my stuff down. Looks like a cat. Jump. Where are you, cat? He's jumping on something. They're all girls, so one of them has to be a she. Namely, all of them. But they weren't about to leave me alone. They came up to my seat as if trapping me in conversation.
水臭い。
Hey there,
どうして教えてくれなかったのよ。
The blonde-haired girl snarling playfully at me was Mirai Sato.
いやー同級生から芸術家が生まれるなんて俺
The-
すげえ嬉しいよ
The big buff guy laughing with his arms crossed. That's crossed. That's like was Ryuichi Murata. They both were my classmates. Thanks, but it's really nothing worth fussing over.
相変わらずすかしてるね。
Sato-san hung her shoulders. She was the same age as me and always had a proper school uniform on. The eldest daughter of a big family, she took care of the household duties for busy parents for a whole year before realizing she wanted a normal student life. She looked flashy, but knew how to take care of people. Being a big sister to so many siblings, one flaw she had was her tendency to get angry or excited over the littlest things. Momo, make up your mind. What are you doing? Have you decided yet? Are you coming this way or going that way? No matter how many obstacles I put on this desk for you not to get over here, you generally do. Alright.
何言ってるんだよすごいじゃねえかそういう時は素直に喜べばいいんだよ
Sociable and cool, with an earring that swayed when he laughed. Everyone in class called him Ryu-san from his first name. I think he had just turned 21. His arms weren't enormous, but obviously toned enough for labor. You could see part of a tattoo just beneath his sleeve. I don't. It was no mystery he was popular with girls, with his chiseled face and physique. And, of course, his bright personality. Mo! Stop yowling and go. Either come here or go. I'll close the freaking door on you. Meow. Probably can't hear her meowing at me. He was actually married and recently became a father. Cool. He was an infamously wild ruffian in his hometown and didn't bother going to high school or working, but he soon got his girl pregnant and married her. Perhaps it was a blessing in disguise. It totally changed him, and he started working at his father-in-law's construction firm, who then encouraged him to enroll in this part-time school. It was clear he never actually studied before coming here, and his tests were always either average or below passing. I could tell by his reactions what his score was when we got our tests back. Why? Why don't you run away? Why don't you run from me? So damn cute. This is the cat hair is. I prefer not having it in my mouth or my nose.
先輩は昔から本をたくさん読んでましたからね。勉強もすごくできたし、先輩にとっては本当にこんなの
Quit flirting with me!
ですよね。
Well, I wouldn't exactly say that. Uzaki-san always went overboard with compliments, to the point where it seemed like I had an inflated ego. I awkwardly denied it, but Ryu-san jumped in.
そうか。俺はまともに一冊読み切ったことさえないよ。あんな文字だけの本の何が楽しいんだ？しかも読むどころか自分で書くだなんてさ。どんな
Yeah,
頭
that's
の
kind of my
想像してるん
problem
だ
too.
よ。
Before I could cobble up an answer, Sato-san started.
そうは見えないけど、対馬って本当だったらここにいるのがおかしいくらい優秀な人間なんだからね。腐ってもエリートなのよ。ねえ、ここに来たこと心底後悔してるでしょう。
Flirting with
自
me!
分は私たちみたいなのと
Oh,
同じ学校に通うような人間じゃないって内心で思ってるんじゃない？いくら
Thank
学
you,
校クビになったから
Nathan
って
Fabian,
さ、あの
for
学校に
subscribing.
入れたんならここよりもっといいとこ行けたはずなのに、どうしてここに来たのやら。
And yeah, I'm not live, just so you know. I just leave those notifications because I like to thank people when I do see them. So, and since instead of just having the sound go and people like go, what? I'll leave a little notification there. She glared with a teasing smile at me. I didn't talk about myself much, but my previous school and that my dad was a doctor somehow spread around. At the very least, they didn't connect the dots that Shusaki Tsushima on TV was my dad. Oh, Shusaku, not Shusaku. Well, they had their suspicions given a rare name. I just played the fool when it came up and somehow they all bought it. I don't think that at all. I slumped in my chair.
そうかな。まあとにかく隠さないでよね。賞を取ったのもう1ヶ月も前みたいじゃない。どうして教えてくれないのよ。
Now, stay put. Just so you can get an idea, we go. She needs to lay down. Mo. Going. All right. Should be good. Lay down. Now. Thank you.
教えてくれなかったから拗ねてるんだよ。こうぐちぐち言われたくなければ今度からすぐに報告するんだな。
Ryu-san cracked a big smile.
そんなんじゃないけど。でもおめでとうね。見つけた時は本当にびっくりしたわ。はあ
Sato-san heaved a big sigh after she spoke. Thanks. I gave a little smile back. It's not like I was hiding it for some weird reason. It was just hard to say. The girl who won was in a lower grade at my last school. I figured I'd just get it off my chest. They were just happy for me, and I was starting to feel stupid for being upset.
へえ、じゃあそれでジェラシー感じてたわけだ。
She ate that right up. Yeah.
対馬はプライド高いからな。
She slapped me on the shoulder.
まあ副賞がそんなに嫌なら一番を取れなかった残念会でもする？みんなで
Yay!
食べてあげる
Pity parties!
後輩の女の子に向けてかわいそうって。
Shut up! If you're gonna tease me like that, I won't return your thing. And I even fixed it. No, I don't even know what this game.
治ったの？
Whoa, you I did. This game is listed apparently as Adults only. Yet none of the indications here I have are any indication of that. Only the thing that lists it or whatever. And I have not seen anything besides like one of the girls' pictures in any of these like screenshots. So I'm waiting for the music. I like music. Actually, I like the music that's going on here. But yeah, continuing. Momo. Yeah, it's working.
預かり物って何ですか？
チビがゲームを壊しちゃって電源が入らなくなったから対馬に直してもらおうと思って預けてたんだよ。
Game machine.
まあ、
Of course, a request like that would come from you. I looked online and it's a common problem. And it was an easy fix. But I don't think I'm gonna fix all your stuff from now on. Sounds like something I do. Someone goes, it's broken. I'm like, okay, Hannah, here, let's go. Google. Oh, boop, done. It's good. I reached into my bag as I spoke and pulled out her game system, then gave it to her.
ありがとう。
Can I see it?
やっぱ対馬っていいやつだよね。
She pranced up and down in glee. Sheesh, clearly sorry about teasing me. Oh, Ryu-san, here. I then pulled out an envelope for Ryu-san.
ありがとう。
Oh.
助かるな。
What I do is homework?
リュウさんも何か頼んでたんですか？
人気のコンサートのチケットなんだけど、ネットじゃないと取れないって言うから取ってもらったんだ。
He does not know how to use interwebs. He snickered and scratched his head, a little embarrassed.
もう、なんで二人ともそんなことを先輩に押し付けるんですか？いくら先輩が優しいからって何から何まで。先輩には大事な勉強があるんですよ。
She felt like she needed to stand up for me.
いやー、俺ネットで予約とかよくわかんねえからさ。
I know how to buy stuff online. Are you actually gonna stay up there now, Kat? Oh, you're gonna burrow. Yeah, you guys gotta do it. Hey, Mo's gone. All's good. Day is saved. She'll be there for a few hours. He seemed genuinely apologetic, but on the other
あ
hand,
ら恐ろしや。制裁殿がお怒りですぞ。
Sato-san just poked fun as usual.
未来ちゃん、
Oh, come on now. I tried to subdue her anger. You don't have to get mad like that. It took a second to get the tickets, and as for the game, well, it definitely wasn't my forte. Oh, I'm choking on cat hair. Blech. What I get for biting my cat. But I learned something new researching about it. It's a good break from the norm.
でも、
そうだよ。人生には回り道が必要だから余計なこともした方がいいんだよ。特に対馬なんか誰よりも回り道が好きだから来なくてもいいのにこんな学校にいるんだし。だから文句言わないの。
I mean, it kind of hurts hearing that from you.
ごめんね。でも頼りにしてるからね。
Yeah, one thing I can say, it does bug me that it's covering the entire screen, because I can't really enjoy the artwork when there's always text on the screen. I had no idea if she was actually apologizing or not, but with her hands together in front of her face, which face is she covering? I just sighed reluctantly. As we continued our chat, the rest of the students filed in one by one. Maida-san, who was a single mother, Maeda-san, I don't know. Always exhausted, a chubby guy, Takahashi-kun, who had enough of the bullying at his last school, Ryoka-chan, who detests studying. They all had heard from Sato-san and talked to me accordingly. Class size had shrunk so much, I was basically friends with everyone. The whole hierarchy and clique culture of a normal school was absent here. Sato-san was a total chick, but chatted with the mellow, nerdy Takahashi-kun about the latest manga like it was nothing. I love that about this class. I think it's a big reason I was able to deal with quitting my last school and continue coming here. only a split second before the before the start of class. The last student, Kaneda, finally showed up. Even in this school, which is easy on the dress code, he stood out. The sides of his head were shaved, clean with a huge mohawk. His body and clothes had metal hanging all over. His thin body had tattoos on an almost tribal level. Where are they putting these tattoos that I can somehow see them with my telescopic vision? His angular features were accentuated by a mean stare, which his sharp and beady eyes added to. He was not a guy you forgot easily. Oh, I can hit escape. Oh, there we go. I was wondering how to do this. Save. Folder 1. Alright. I'm actually going to call it here because I've been playing for 40 minutes. I'm getting into the story, but depending on where this goes, I may upload more episodes. But if it's an actually adulterated game, probably not going to show any fun stuff, so I might move on to another game to show. If you folks enjoyed this, as I said before, this game is available on Steam. It is, it's on sale for $40.49, normally $44.99. Holy crap. Thank you very much, Overdrive and Manga Gamer, for giving me this key. I am enjoying this game, and I enjoy the artwork and so forth, but I'm hoping to see a lot more after, been playing for 40 minutes. If you folks enjoyed this, please remember to hit the like button, subscribe if you want to see more. Other than that, I will catch you all in the next video that I end up doing. Toodles!